Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. So today, we're tackling what I think is one of the most elegant puzzles in all of chemistry. We're talking about measuring the energy of reactions that are incredibly dangerous, highly volatile, or just, flat out messy. I mean, imagine trying to capture the exact energy output of a chaotic explosion right in the middle of it happening. Sounds totally impossible, right? Well, that is exactly the puzzle we're going to solve today. Let me ask you this. Can you measure the energy released by burning a lump of coal into carbon dioxide directly, in a single, perfectly clean step? Just think about that for a second. The reality is, not really. When you burn a piece of coal, it's completely chaotic. It's actually really hard to isolate that exact chemical transformation in one perfect measurable burst, because, other things just keep getting in the way. But as we're about to see, there's this remarkably clever workaround. We can actually figure out the exact energy involved. And the best part? We don't even need to run the actual direct reaction to find out. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the concept, Hess's law. So this law is absolutely the foundation of our explainer today. Hess's law basically states that the total enthalpy change of a chemical reaction is exactly the same regardless of the number of steps taken to complete it, as long as the initial and final conditions are identical. Now, I really want you to focus on that phrase, total enthalpy change. It remains strictly, uncompromisingly constant, no matter how many intermediate detours or little pit stops happen along the way. The energy tally literally only cares about where you started and where you finished. Now, what's really interesting about this is how enthalpy maps perfectly to something we can all visualize, like elevation on a hiking trail. Look at side A. If you're hiking a mountain, it genuinely doesn't matter if you take some brutal, direct vertical scramble or a long, winding series of switchbacks. The net change in elevation from the base to the summit, it's exactly the same. And over on side B, we can see that chemical reactions work the exact same way. Whether a reaction happens in one massive step or broken down into several intermediate ones, the total energy change stays perfectly constant. It's like a giant puzzle where the final picture is always the same. So, moving right along to section 2, real-world applications. So why does this actually matter outside of a textbook? Well, it's because chemists use Hess's law all the time. We're talking thermochemistry calculations, fuel research, industrial process design, the whole shebang. Just think about designing a chemical plant that handles highly volatile rocket propellants. You absolutely cannot safely measure that combustion in a single giant vat. No way. But by breaking that incredibly dangerous reaction into a series of smaller, much safer steps that have known enthalpies, scientists can just add those safe steps together to find the total energy of the explosive reaction. It is a real game changer. Let's move to section 3 and see how this all builds up. The proof, carbon dioxide. Remember that opening puzzle we talked about, the one about measuring the direct burn of coal? Well, if we want to find the enthalpy of forming carbon dioxide directly from carbon and oxygen, we just use those intermediate steps. Step 1, we measure the energy of carbon converting to carbon monoxide. This is a known, totally manageable step. Then, step 2, we measure that carbon monoxide converting into carbon dioxide. Again, completely manageable. By doing this, we capture the entire chemical journey without ever having to measure that chaotic direct burn all at once. So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. The sum matches exactly. When you add the enthalpy of step 1 to step 2, the mathematical result gives you the precise enthalpy of forming carbon dioxide directly. It is just this wonderfully satisfying proof that energy in the universe is kept strictly in balance for sure, no matter which chemical path you decide to take. And that pretty much brings us to the end of our journey with Hess's law today. It's such a beautiful way to track total energy across chemical reaction paths, really showing us that energy is fixed purely by the start and end points. But, that naturally leads us to another really fascinating puzzle about how chemical properties behave under different conditions. Like, once we know the energy of our chemicals, what actually happens when we mix them together? Specifically, how does a solvent affect the properties of whatever's dissolved in it? It's a great question, and it is the exact focus of our next explainer on Raoult's law. So until then, keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.